Shitterek, and I am speaking to you from the high-altitude perch of the press box at Dallas Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Outside, the Texas sun is a heavy, humid hammer with the moisture hanging at a stifling 75%. But inside this 80,000 capacity air-conditioned cathedral, the air is crisp, cool, and crackling with the static of a legacy about to be defined. We are at the FIFA World Cup 2026 semifinal, a titanic collision between two European giants, France and Spain. The pre-match calculus: the atmosphere is less of a football match and more of a tactical summit. France entered this afternoon as the tournament's supernova, a side that had ripped through the bracket with a perfect record of 6 wins and a tournament-high 16 goals. Spain, conversely, arrived as the competition's impenetrable defense, having logged a world record 6 consecutive clean sheets. This is the 3rd consecutive summer these two have met in a major semi-final. As I looked down at the pitch during warm-ups, the positional structures were already clear. Both Didier Deschamps and Luis de la Fuente opted for the 4-2-3-1 formation, setting the stage for a mirror image battle for the center of the park. The French received a significant boost with the return of Aurélien Tchouameni to the pivot, replacing Manu Kone to provide a physical shield. Spain, meanwhile, relied on the conductor Rodri, the man tasked with dictating the rhythm of their juego de posición. Early rhythm and the first fracture. The opening 10 minutes were a period of intense observation, a chess match where neither side was willing to overcommit. Spain's systematic structure immediately began to test the French mid-block. Rodri and Fabián Ruiz were finding pockets of space, while France relied on the vertical pace of Kylian Mbappé to keep the Spanish backline honest. However, the transitional lethality France is famous for was silenced early. At the 9-minute mark, Adrien Rabiot was forced into a reckless challenge that earned him the match's first yellow card. This was a harbinger of the lack of communication that would plague the French press all afternoon. The first true turning point arrived in the 22nd minute. Lamine Yamal, who celebrated his 19th birthday only yesterday, made a piercing run into the box. Lucas Digne, isolated and desperate, committed what can only be described as a childish foul, clipping Yamal. Up stepped Mikel Oyarzabal. The Real Sociedad man remained ice cold, sending Mike Maignan the wrong way to slot the penalty into the net. 1-0 to Spain. Tactical shifts and the Saliba crisis. The goal shook the French foundations. Deschamps' side, which had not trailed significantly in this tournament, suddenly looked unbalanced. But the crisis deepened at the 30-minute mark. William Saliba, a pillar of the French defense, went down with an injury and was unable to continue. Deschamps was forced into an early change, bringing on Maxence Lacroix, while Lacroix settled in with tidy distribution, completing 20 of his first 21 passes. The injury reshaped the French backline at a critical moment. Spain's Aymeric Laporte and Pau Cubarsí were effectively closing the door on Mbappé, who looked isolated and invisible for much of the half. At halftime, the expected goals, XG, statistics told a damning story. Spain 0.99 to France 0.04. Spain wasn't just leading, they were dominating the shot quality. The climax, Porro's palatial strike. As we entered the second half, France attempted to regain control. Deschamps made another change at the restart, bringing Manu Kone on for the booked Rabiot. France began to land more accurate crosses and entries into the final third, but the clinical end product was missing. The definitive moment occurred in the 58th minute. Pedro Porro, the Tottenham right-back who would eventually be named Player of the Match, initiated a palatial 1-2 with Dani Olmo. Porro received the return pass inside the area and unleashed a precise first-time shot that flew into the bottom corner. 2-0 to Spain. The Spanish bench erupted. For the first time in his professional career, Kylian Mbappé was facing the reality that he would not reach a World Cup final. The final resistance and resolution. France, desperate to avoid a repeat of their Euro 2024 exit at the hands of La Roja, threw everything into the attack. Deschamps introduced Bradley Barcola, Désiré Doué, and Rayan Cherki, looking for the individual magic to break Spain's hegemony. But Spain's defensive masterclass held firm. Unai Simón acted brilliantly as a sweeper keeper, and Marc Cucurella made a monumental challenge on Mbappé to prevent a certain goal. As the clock ticked down, the frustration of Les Bleus became visible. In the 87th minute, Mbappé received a childish yellow card for a foul on Simone, a moment that encapsulated France's afternoon. High energy, but misdirected. When the referee blew the final whistle after 7 minutes of added time, the dichotomy of emotion was stark. The Spanish players were pumped up, celebrating their second ever World Cup final appearance. The French players, including their captain Mbappé, fell to the grass in agony and devastation. Reflective closing. What Dallas delivered. As the lights begin to dim here in Arlington, we are left to process the positional structure of victory. For Spain, this was a vintage performance that stayed true to the ideas Luis de la Fuente started nearly 4 years ago. They have now beaten France in 3 consecutive major semifinals, proving that their counter-press and technical control can neutralize even the most star-studded attacks. For France, this marks the end of a golden era under Didier Deschamps, who set a record today with his 26th World Cup match in charge. They reached unfamiliar territory today, failing to fire when it mattered most. As Mbappé later admitted, they were outplayed and too sloppy technically to hurt a side as disciplined as La Roja. Spain moves on to the showpiece in New Jersey, while France must prepare for a third-place match in Miami. The 2026 World Cup has seen the outsiders' dream, but today, the penthouse of international soccer reminded us that some kings are harder to dethrone than others. Spain is one win away from immortality. France is left to wonder where the supernova went dark.